maybe halfway into it, I'll drop an actual intro as if I'm starting like the real interview, and that's going to be the part that's cut for radio. So I'll drop the intro, and then I'll ask you like two or three questions, depending on how long your answers are. So if there's something that you want to focus on just for those questions, which will be on the radio show, let me know. But
Okay.
otherwise, we'll chat about everything, and the whole video that we're like this whole thing that we're doing right now will be posted on the YouTube and all that stuff. But like, if there's
Awesome.
something specific you want on the radio,
Yeah,
it should be
so
in
the
that.
Gavin Turek tour, I would love to mention that for this summer, um, my new music that has come out. So, Believe, and then the three remixes that are currently out, and just the Liberia plug, basically. Kind of
That
those three things.
who's doing the I guess maybe I should save it for the. This is so frustrating because like I want to talk to you for an hour and have it all be on the radio, but. Who's what three remixes drop? Who did the remixes for Believe?
So our girl Juliet Mendoza, so excited. She's such a G, one of my first friends in LA, and it's just great to see her journey over the years. I'm just so proud of her, and like she's so inspiring, on the local and now international front.
Yeah.
So her. We also have Best Friends Club out of Canada.
Cool.
And I have been based in Philadelphia for the past year, so it's been interesting stepping away from LA life and getting into this kind of second city vibe. And recently made friends with a guy named Zach Adam here. He runs a crew called Rock the House Philly, and so he was the third one to do the remix.
Sick. Why? What took you from LA to Philly? What was the impetus behind that?
Two fun facts. One is when my family immigrated from Liberia to the United States was to Philadelphia. And so Philadelphia has the largest Liberian population outside of the country of Liberia.
Oh wow, I didn't know that
So
at all.
yeah, it's little Liberia. Let me tell you, this airport is anybody who works at the airport, or like if you go into the medical field, so at the hospitals or nursing homes, all of the nurses are Liberian or West African, so it feels really familiar. Also, I went to boarding school here.
Oh, is that
So
right?
growing up, I didn't have like the Philadelphia experience like out in these streets because it was a boarding school and we stayed on campus. We went to school, we socialized, everything here on campus. So it's kind of nice having another perspective of it, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, and I bought a house, so trying to big girl a little bit. Um,
Okay.
yes, so I definitely have real estate aspirations outside of music, and it's just much more possible to do it in cities like Philadelphia versus LA, whom I love. I will eventually be able to afford a place in LA. I'm speaking that out into the universe. But for right now, the 2 cents that I got, we going in Philadelphia.
I feel you. I'm from LA and I live in the Bay Area now.
Oh Lord.
And I have property in both places, but I'm just like what like I'm a California girl through and through, but I'm always like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like what? I mean, I could sell these two properties and be living like Beyonce down to Thailand or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just so unserious.
Yeah, I mean, it's so smart, and kudos to you. Because one of my experiences has been it's not a lot of brown folks and it's not a lot of non-males in this, and it's been really hard with the genderism and the ageism, and all of that stuff has been incredibly difficult. I'm not someone who shies away from challenges, but I could see how discouraging it could be for a lot of people who look like me and you. So that's another reason why I moved here. I was trying to do it from abroad, or excuse me, remotely, and it was moving, but very very slowly. And just being here
Sure.
has been much better for now.
What's your favorite thing about living in Philly, and what's the thing that you miss most about living in LA?
My favorite thing about living in Philadelphia, or one of the favorite things, is Liberian food. So it's about lunchtime, a little after lunchtime right now, and let me tell you, my CPA is like, you don't have any vices. You're not spending money on alcohol or drugs or anything, but your Uber Eats, we gotta talk about that. Your Uber Eats, like, this is ridiculous. My spending on Liberian food, I just haven't, being in LA, there's not a lot of Liberians. I mean, you find Nigerians, you find Ghanaians and stuff, but Liberians, we're already only like 5 million people, and
Right.
it's really only like, again, Philadelphia. So every week I am spending hundreds of dollars.
Hey, man, I love it for
So that's
you.
one of my favorite parts is the food, being surrounded around more authentic Liberian things here.
That's what's up. And what do you miss about LA, if anything?
Um, I miss just sunshine and positivity. Some people call it fake, if you will, but I'll take it. Like people are like, you must not be for real. I walk down the street and I'm smiling at people. I'm telling them I like their outfits and how are you? And they're looking at me like, girl, life is hard out here. And I'm like, you're right, but smile, or like, make someone else's day brighter. And
Hey,
I'm like, sweeping the streets, and people don't really do that too much around here. So just like the cheeriness, and that's the kind of stuff I miss.
I used to always say about LA, like, yeah, life is hard out here, but at least the sun is always shining. The sun is
Yes,
always
yes,
shining. It's
yes.
always going to be a nice day. All right, well, I am going to. I had no idea about the Gavin Torres tour. A fun fact about Gavin, I'm probably going to repeat this when like it's time for the real shit. Um, when we first sort of conceptualized Femme House, we conceptualized it as exclusively like a live events thing.
Okay.
And so we threw our first party, Femme House party, here in San Francisco at a venue called August Hall, which is a beautiful, giant venue. It's like a I think a 1 or 2 thousand cap space. And we booked Gavin Turek for it, and she's the sweetest. She's one of my favorite people in the entire
Yes.
world.
Yes.
She's the sweetest person. Um, and I remember her being like, she was like, "Girl, why did y'all book me in this big ass room?" And it was just like, "No, man, we're going tits first into the Femme House thing. We believe in it. People are gonna come." And like only like maybe 200 people came, and it is to this day the funnest live experience I've ever had. She acted like her stage presence is such that if there's 5 people there or
Hmm.
there's 5,000 people there, I mean, I felt like I was witnessing history. I was standing right in front of her the entire time, and it was the Whitney era, so she had the big,
Oh, yes.
you know what I
Yes.
mean, the slick back
Yes.
hair and the big
Hmm.
like red fur like snuffleupagus thing. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh my god. I was
I
just
know
like,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. So like, Shorty has my heart like forever. She's just like the sweetest, and like her mom was with her,
Oh
and we
God,
had
her
we
and
had
her
such a
mom
good
is
time.
from the Bay, so that was
Yes,
like
her
in
mom
my
is from the
hometown.
boy. That was a key, man. It was amazing. It's one of my favorite
That's
nights that
so
I've ever
funny.
had. Yeah. And we lost so much fucking money on the show, but we didn't care. It was just like a core memory. A core memory.
Yeah. No, Gavin has become a really good friend of mine. I met her maybe in 2015. I used to tour with this other artist from Sweden called Elephant. And at the time, Gavin was on the road working the co-record she had with Toki Monster. And we
Hmm.
just kept like catching up on like being booked on the same shows, and we became friendly that way. And I remember after that like season, I a friend of mine was visiting LA. We went to the Echoplex. I'm like, what am I going to do with this girl? It's like a Wednesday night. She wants to go out. She's here from New York, and I'm tired. I'm really tired. And I lived in Echo Park, and I was like, where's somewhere I can walk? Work her out for an hour and then go back to sleep. Kind of thing. And so I was like, let me take her to the Echoplex. There's always something happening. I don't know what's on the calendar tonight, but there will be something at the Echoplex. So we go, and there was some show, and then I get a tap on my shoulder. And I turn around, and this like brown girl with big hair, and I was like, I know you. And she was like, you will never believe this. And she whips out her phone, and she goes, I've been looking everywhere for you. Everywhere. I've been asking people. I've been, and she's like, since the tour, I've been trying to find you. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I've been trying to find your contact. And so it's so strange and amazing that like you're here right now. And she's like, will you come on tour with me? And I was like, this could either go really well or really badly, but I'm in for the adventure. And we've been good friends ever since. Yeah, we slept on floors. We've been all over the world together, and she's just so awesome. And again, it's just the consistency and good vibes and good music. And I'm really excited, like just so many more people like her are starting to get their due, that it's just inspiring. Like it just I feel like it's a really good time.
Yeah, I agree. Femme House fam, this is her Mix-a-Lot. I am back on Femme House Radio across all over the world now. I don't even know how many stations we're in at this point. But it is Femme House Radio, Pass the Mic edition, where I am amplifying queer and BIPOC voices. I have the Liberian goddess in the flesh, Val Fleury. What's happening?
How's it going? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's a great pleasure. We came across you when, what was that for?
Miami Music Week, ARC,
I think.
Yeah,
ARC. We ran an opening contest, and when we run these contests, we get so many submissions, as you can imagine, and yours stopped everybody in their tracks.
Wow.
Like, immediately. Like, it's so crazy. It's just like the group chat got so lit when everybody got to yours. It was like a domino effect. Like, I think GL at first was like, everybody stop what the fuck you're doing, go listen to Val's mix. And then just like watching the group chat like get on and on and on and on and on, like you absolutely wowed us. And it was such a pleasure to see you play in person too and meet you in person. How did you hear about Femme House? Like what spurred you to enter the contest?
I've heard about Femme House actually. I do a lot of training, whether that's teaching DJing or intro music production. So I had heard about the work that you guys are doing along with a couple other like collectives and organizations, and I've just always been supportive from afar, adjacent things and just rooting, especially knowing like it's like queer and people of color and allies behind it too, and was just hoping one day our paths would cross in whatever capacity. I didn't even hear about the contest, to be honest. I think I applied the night of or the day of I heard about it through Reba and Bianca. I swear, I was at their house. Yeah, I was at their house. They had just invited me over randomly. And I went over. Now I'm based in Philadelphia. I'm between LA and Philadelphia, but I recently met them and the Solar Sounds team. They invited me over, and they're like, oh my God, you got to apply for this thing, but the deadline is tonight. And I was like, I don't know, like it just tonight, and I'm sure it's Femme House. There's going to be 20,000 people who apply. I went home. I wasn't even going to apply, to be honest with you. I wasn't going to apply. It was already pushing midnight too. But then something was just like, what do you have to lose? Just do it. And I literally sat there and I crunched out a mix. And it usually takes me about 2 weeks to do a mix, because I really think about it, trying to think about who I'm going to play there, having enough people of color, having enough queer, having enough international, because all these things are so near and dear to my heart. Like, honestly, that's why it takes me so long to do these things. But I sat there and I cranked that thing out in record time.
Can you tell how truly gagged I am that you, like, I mean, I'm gonna have to bump this back on the SoundCloud and put it back on socials, just like so that people's minds can be blown along with how hard my mind is blown right now. Y'all, if you hear this mix, this shit is giving like it's giving you created the contest, bitch, and like set the bar for what the mixes should be. I am truly gagged that you went home and it was almost midnight and you were just like, all right, let
I
me just like
Yeah,
that's
I
crazy.
honestly did not hear about it until that afternoon from the two of them, from Riva and Bianca, and I honestly didn't think that I would get it. I knew a lot of people would be applying, so I know that people think I just showed up out of nowhere, but I've been doing this for a few years now. So I just really try to rely on like my heart and what I know I can do, and hope that you guys would really see that and identify with it. I also thought about really trying to tell the story of like why I chose what I chose to do for the mix. Again, it's just really important to me, like owning the story, especially being like, you know, an immigrant, brown, Jewish woman, and like every category basically.
Just like every marginalized
Yeah,
community,
really,
you're just like
really.
check.
And trying to amplify those underrepresented communities that I come from, that I support, even if I'm not from them directly. I know people are saying, you know, you're getting tired of this wokeness, whatever. But the truth is, the music that we play, unless it's classical music, and even we're starting to own that now, comes from, you know, black and brown folks and or black and brown queer folks. And it's been really important for me to like do my part, having to educate and communicate that, and just taking up space too, has been a little bit hard for me. But one of the things that I always say to people is, you know, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have fear. That's part of the human condition, right? You know, love, fear, etc. But do it anyways. Like, still be afraid. Even me, you know, I was afraid to apply. I didn't think I was gonna get it, but I was like, you know what? You always preaching this message, Val. You're always preaching this message to people to be afraid, do it anyways. And I was afraid, and I did it anyway. And look what worked out. So, yeah.
Hey, they say it's not brave unless you're scared. So shout out to that. I remember so vividly. I was sitting out on my terrace. It was really late, and I had to get these final like votes in, and you just hear your voice, and you set an intention from the beginning that you were highlighting and amplifying queer voices and black voices and brown voices. And from that moment on, it felt like such a celebration, that by, and you know, like we're only asking for 15-20 minutes because that's the only way we can get through them all. And by minute like 3, I was literally, I mean, it's like 1 a.m. on my terrace, and I'm just like outside howling at the moon, like two-stepping. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I poured my heart into that. It's wonderful to hear.
It also it makes me feel really warm and cozy, you know, like Femme House and what we're fostering over here is all about community and amplification of the marginalized. So the fact that Reeve and Bianca themselves, previous contest winners, I think they also entered the contest, said, yo, this contest is happening, do your best. Like, we, you know, like that's just so cozy.
Yeah, paying it forward, and there's you never know, especially being people like us in this industry. Like, there's only so many queer folks. There's only so many. Unfortunately, there's only so many brown folks now. Like, we kind of have to take care of each other because no one else is. You know. It was also nice to see, like, you know, Kalina on the bill in Miami Music Week. I've known her for 10 years, like when she was still doing her accounting job in LA and talking about she wants to start singing, and, you know, and I'm like, yeah, girl, you can do it. And I wasn't even DJing yet. And I was like, I think I want to be a DJ. She was like, you can be a DJ. And I was like, well, you can be a singer-songwriter, you know, that kind of thing. And coming full circle or fuller circle with, you know, us being on the same bill. Surprisingly, I had no idea. I didn't know at all. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I've known this person for 10 years. And now she's playing Elements Festival this summer. And then Riva, Bianca are also doing a thing with Elements. And it was really cool to see, what's her name? Also from Philadelphia. It's just like Heavenly, yes.
Yeah.
And I
that was a special
her
night because it was an entirely black female lineup outside of LP.
Yeah. And it just goes back to what you're saying. We have to take care of each other. We have to be supportive of each other. It doesn't matter what genre or necessarily what lane you want to be in, but you just never know who and how people are connected. And we can always go further together.
We can always go further together. That's right. A lot of what we like sort of preach is the importance, right? Of that's why I'm just sort of like meditating on how impactful that night was to me because, like I said, there was only black women on the bill and then LP, and like a lot of what we're after is like visual representation. Like it matters what you see. Seeing something or someone that looks like you is like the first inclination that you
Hmm.
get that you can do or be a thing. It's like your first inclination of belief. So speaking of belief, tell me about your new single "Believe" with John Alpine.
Nice
You see what
segue.
you see what I'm over real
I
quick. You
thought
saw
we would get there.
me.
Yeah, I think the message of believe has just been really important and vital for my life. I come from a, really large, loud Liberian family. We moved here during the Liberian Civil War. I'm the only girl in my family. I'm usually the only one who moved through circles that I moved through. I'm usually the connector, the intersection person, if you will. And I think, as you said, my presence and not even seeing it growing up, like anyone who looks like me doing what I do, I realized really quickly like I have to be the one. And I have to be able to believe in myself, and I need to be able to help other people believe that anything they want to do, whether it's DJing or you want to be a flautist or you want to be an architect, like just seeing someone doing something out of the ordinary helps you to believe that there's a chance for you or a chance for people like you. And this song was inspired, especially during COVID when there was a lot of like hope, hope missing from people. And I wanted to work on a song that would inspire people, will help them believe like we're gonna get through this overall. But like people are going through some deep dark shit personally.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, we just wanted, I don't know if this California in me or something, but I just wanted to inject something that would be positive for folks.
A little
And
bit of that
it
LA
came
sunshine,
together.
huh?
Yes, it came
Yeah.
together really well. And I wanted something that I was like, I knew festivals are going to start coming back up soon. And I just want to see people singing this, outside and together. And another important thing about constructing the song was like coming from an immigrant background. Um, I used to work for Red One, the producer, like 10 years ago. And this
Red
time,
one.
and
Gaga.
on our entire team, I wasn't a writer or anything. I actually did creative services for him. But our entire team of writers and producers, for the most part, were, from everywhere around the world. And English was their fifth language or so. Like they're speaking Swedish and Arabic and French and Dutch and all this stuff. And by the time they got to English, it was like their fifth, sixth, seventh language. And if you ever look at Red's lyrics or cadence, people get the lyrics within 20 seconds, even if they don't speak English.
Yeah.
And constructing the song, I was really leaning into that, like just being in the
Mm.
room sometimes and hearing them write these like prolific songs for Gaga and all these other great folks. And I've been playing the song out. I was fortunate enough to play Coachella this year, and I even teased it out at Miami Music Weekend. I look into the crowd and people are singing these words like they know the dang song. And I'm like, this song ain't even out yet. You've never heard it. But like by the time the second chorus comes around, they're like, believe.
That's awesome.
It's quite amazing. So I'm just hoping to have more opportunities like that, more music, playing more festivals. Um, I'm just hoping and praying. Like I would love to be up there with LP and the Peggy Goos and the Honey Dijons and even other people that I look up to, like Holographic, who we met there, and Kalina, as I
Yeah.
said. And I would love to be able to play music and do festivals on that scale.
You're well on your way, especially if I have any say about it, which I'm gonna make sure that it's so. You've got quite a list of remixers for Believe. You've got three. Are they coming out or are they already out?
They have just been released, so
Sick.
fresh, fresh off the presses.
All right.
Um, I was able to tap into some pretty amazing talent for this one. As you know, this is a collaboration with my buddy John Alpine, and so he was able to reach out to his friend out of Canada, Best Friends Club. That one's a vibe. Also, being based here in Philadelphia, we were able to work with Zach Adam, who has a pretty awesome collective called Rock the House Philly. And I, for the third one, was able to connect with my good friend Julia Mendoza. When I moved to LA, she was one of the first supportive people, and it's amazing to see her ascension, if you will.
Yeah.
And yeah, her remix. I'm not going to say anything about the other two because they're amazing too, but it's just so amazing to see like what she did with that and just took it a whole nother place. A whole nother place.
Awesome. I can't wait to listen. You're going on tour with Gavin Turek, an original friend of Femme House, an original one of our champions. I told you the story before we hopped on live here, but all I'll say, dear listeners, is that Gavin was in the trenches with us from the very beginning and always with a smile on her face about it, even as everything crumbled and burned around her. She did not care. She was in it for the cause. She was in it for us, and that is a day one by every definition. Tell me about the tour.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin and I go back to 2015. I used to tour with this Swedish artist called Elephant, and she was touring with Toki Monster as they released a record together. And as you said, from day one, it's been 2015. I've literally have never seen Gavin upset. I've never not seen her smiling in a good mood, even as you said, when things are burning. And that is one thing that I've learned from her. That you just take everything with a positive light and that everything will work out for the most part. However it needs to work out, it'll work out, and to see the good in people and things. So it's really awesome to have stayed friends with her. I call her regularly, and it was awesome to have her call me for this tour. So we are going to be going through the East Coast and West Coast. We've already done one show in San Francisco in June. We have coming up Chicago this weekend. There's going to be a mini residency at Peppermint Club in LA, one for each month. So that's July, August, and September. There is New York at Elsewhere. There is Boston and now Philly as well. So it's going to be a good time. She has new music. I have new music. And it's still awesome, you know, the funky, disco-y Gavin vibe. But she's peeking a little bit into electronic music. Like there's some tinges of it, and I'm telling you, these songs are amazing. So it's gonna be epic. I can't wait for you guys to be there. I hope to see you at a show, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I missed the San Francisco show, and I was like screaming, crying, and throwing up about it. But we had a Femme House takeover at West Hollywood Pride. So I was like, I quite literally have to work, but there'll be other times.
I mean,
And I'm
there's a
excited.
weekender. You can come down to LA. We got three
Right.
shots.
Okay, I'm a, one thing about me, I'm gonna follow you and Gavin anywhere. So,
Um,
tell people what to expect from your mix that they'll be listening to. Or maybe they're in the middle of it.
yeah, so from my mix, I love to concoct what I call Afro Warehouse. And that is pretty much techno and house with a West African global flair, if you will. And it's just that I spend so much time trying to look into selects that affirm people of color, that affirm queer, that affirm international talent, and put them all together in 1 hour or however long it is for the people to hear and hopefully love and support. So that's what you're going to be hearing. I mean, I have favorites from Jamal Dixon, Ash Loren, Gavin Turek, the Juliet Mendoza remix, The Mix Starts With, and Selecta XXX, who I met here in Philadelphia as well. So people along my travels, people that I love and respect, and it goes on and on. So that's what you will be hearing.
That's awesome. This is my last question. I like to ask it of anyone interesting that I ever talk to. You are sitting down with your younger self. What do you say?
Ooh, wow. I would say bet on yourself more, to take up more space. I think, again, being a woman, a person of color, an immigrant, I've just always been on survival mode, and a lot of times survival mode has been being quiet, being small, not causing trouble, not being too loud, not being having your needs met, if you will, or having your vision or your aspirations heard, because you got to just be the smallest version of yourself to make it through the day or week, etc. And I would tell myself to take up more space and to bet on myself and knowing that everything will be okay.
All right, y'all heard it here first. Val Fleury, betting, thriving, gambling, winning, slang. This has been Her Mix-a-Lot, Femme House Radio, Pass the Mic edition. Val, thank you so much for your time and for just everything that you give to our community, to your own communities, all the intersections of you, the way you live your life, the way you dream, the way you play music, the way you support and build community, and what you give to the world is really deeply important, and we're very grateful to witness it and to be even a small part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, for you guys believing in me. I know that there's a lot of other considerations that you always have, whether that's in your personal life or professional life, and there's a whole team behind this. So for you guys to even take time for me, I really, really, really appreciate it. And I hope you guys continue to crush it in the future. I'm going to keep trying to do my best to make you guys proud and to make everyone proud, and myself. So yeah, that's it. And I just want to also say, visit Liberia. It is a wonderful place in West Africa, and hopefully we'll have a festival, or we'll do like a Femme House takeover there in the next couple of years. So.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time. Everybody, this is Val, a Liberian goddess in the flesh. Worship at her feet. We love you. See you later.
Love you. Bye now.